All right, this was the Spring Valley Canoe Launch Swarm box catch. We brought them home last Thursday night, and this is Saturday, so they've been here 9 days or so. I do believe we found the queen, so we basically gave them one inspection when we brought them home. I do believe we saw the queen, not a whole lot of brood yet though, if any, if I recall correctly. And then we're getting ready to put them, probably today, once I get done with inspections, they will go into a wooden 5-frame nuke. And depending upon what we find here on these 5 frames, it may need to immediately go to a 5/5, but we'll just, depends on how they're doing with what they've got thus far. So this is a resource frame, got plenty of pollen and nectar stored up on it, nothing capped yet. And this was the outside facing side, and they've got some nectar in the top and some pollen there in the middle. So we will set that aside for the remainder of our inspection. Let me check to see what exactly. I'm going to lift you up just a little bit. All right, so that first frame was the frame that was drawn when the trap was set. So that was their kind of bait frame. Everything else was foundation. So here there's a little, so they've been pulling this. A little bit of nectar at the top. They kind of got a pollen ring going. There are some eggs in the middle, but there are more open spaces than there are cells with eggs. So some evidence of laying, but it is not fully laid up. This side does have an abundance of eggs and like 1-day-old larvae. A little bit of pollen mixed in. So we're still working on that. That's the starts of a brood frame there. Alright, we've got cap brood here on the side, and towards this other end we have some larvae and some eggs. Resources around the top, not a bunch, but it's there. And this side, we got cap brood down here. Young larvae, young larvae, young larvae. Eggs out here on the edge. So, working on a good brood frame there. I didn't really pause and look for the queen. Again, I'm 99% sure she is unmarked currently. So building some comb off the bottom of this one. So this is a big sheet of brood. So laid it all the way there to the edge. We got larvae out there on the edge. And the empty cells down on this side have some eggs in it, so that's going to be a full capped sheet. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to take that comb off the bottom. So this is another big brood frame, freshly capped or very mature larvae is mostly what I'm seeing. So it's a little bit of drone comb that they have on the bottom there. Got a quick scan for the queen, although there's not, I don't see fresh eggs on here, so most of these girls are pretty dark. Maybe some carniolan stock. But that frame's looking great from a brood perspective. It's going to be a big brood frame. So the fact that they had some comb hanging off the bottom of that, it tells me that they're pretty much at the point that they need more than the 5 frames that they've got currently. So that's just some resources, and they're working on pollen. All right, this side we've got some brood and a really good pollen ring around it. It kind of makes the cramping the brood nest a little bit, but they've done good about putting pollen near the babies here. We've got eggs and larvae. Plenty of pollen. All right, looks good. Well, I'm going to button them back up. I don't have any additional oxalic acid pads ready to go. I need to make some more. Don't tell the FDA. And then I'll give them a pollen patty now. But like I said, when I'm done with inspections, they really need to go into a 5/5 configuration. So I'll go ahead and give it to them now so I don't forget. But so like I said, they've been here for 8 or 9 days. Don't know exactly when they moved into the box. You know, that's the nature of swarm boxes. But yeah, they look pretty good. So I'll get them pollen patty and put their lid on them, and they will get into a new hive box just a little bit later.